Hey everyone, it's Polly here, and in today's video, we're going to be interviewing my client Gretchen. And Gretchen joined my program about 8 months ago and has been on absolute fire ever since joining. So I thought it would be super inspiring to bring her on and ask her a few questions about her journey, where she started, and what her life is like now.
Hello.
Welcome, first of all, to our interview. And what I'd really like to find out first, Gretchen, is what was your life like before we started our work together? Just paint a little bit of a picture of what your life was like then.
Yeah, I feel as though I was distracted a lot by things that I was afraid of and I didn't know how to handle my fear. And sometimes my fear was debilitating. Like it would just lock me up in many ways, like with work and at home. And I just felt like kind of knew there were things that I should be doing, but I couldn't get myself to get out of my patterns. And so it was like I was working towards, I was reading, I was trying to to do better and get better, but there was only so much I was able to do on my own. It's hard to think back, but I
I know
remember our
it's
first little bit, and I think I was pretty like confused about what was getting in my way.
what would you say was the main challenge you were experiencing?
Having big situations come up in life. I had both of my parents got sick on different occasions that leading up to working with you in your group. And I had an extremely difficult time handling those situations. Again, like debilitating fear, just locked up, wanting to run, wanting to get out of my skin. Certain situations with work when I had to speak in front of, say, 100 people in a room, which I haven't done yet since we've started, but this fear that I didn't see anybody else have, like this, like my body would physically react to the occasions. Like I would just be shaking, like my legs, my insides, like visibly shaking at having to do that. And I was like, what is wrong? I couldn't ever, I would try breathing exercise. I don't know. I would try these different things. And every time I was put in that situation, it was so uncomfortable. Again, I wanted to run. I wanted to like at the last minute say, nope, I can't do this, or run in the bathroom, or call in sick to a meeting. I would do it, but it would just be super, super uncomfortable. And then also just being able to handle things. And I've always had this big fear around my daughter, like this fear of losing her, like the worst fear of like not being able to protect her and not being able to um, be a good parent in the sense that I um, wouldn't be able to enjoy our relationship because I was so afraid of not being able to protect her. That was a big thing too. Having a healthy relationship with her.
How would you say that you've felt positively impacted by our work together?
I'm just a lot more comfortable in my own skin. And I just heard last night somebody said, we're not good on the outside till we're good on the inside. And so the fact that I'm physically feeling better on the outside is a sign that the work is being done on the inside. And like when I heard that last night, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Oh, I'm feeling strong these days. Like I'm doing my Ashtanga. Like, so I would say I am feeling good inside and out. And I have a beautiful relationship with my daughter. I do not live in fear of losing her. I cherish our moments together. And when we do have hiccups because she's a teenager, instead of being reactive, I'm able to better respond in most situations and not get super upset and angry and fearful. I've changed my relationship with my parents as well, where I used to try to help them and fix them. And I carried a lot of their trauma. I carried their trauma with me throughout my life, I've learned. And I've learned to separate that, like disconnect our energies, but still be filled with all kinds of love for them, but in a healthy way, not in a, I need to help them, I need to save them, and that I'm afraid of losing them. And it's just different. It's just like I am in a place with my parents I never imagined I could be, just loving them for who they are, and understanding that their trauma isn't mine, and just giving them love. Like in situations where I see that they're struggling, I don't internalize their struggle, but I just give them love. And it's been incredible, an incredible shift. I would say my shift with my parents and with my daughter have been the biggest. And then I happen to be doing really well professionally too. I've decided to leave a job after 10 years, and which I didn't think I would do. I thought I would ride out my career with the company I've been with. Today's my last day. It's my last day. And I move on to the new company on, which is major, major. But why didn't I make the move before? I was afraid of the change. I was afraid of leaving the comfort of my job that I was good at, where I was highly thought of. I was afraid of doing that. And then I opened myself up to other opportunities a few months ago, knowing that I was becoming complacent and that that was the right thing to do. And in doing that, just it's incredible that I've been able to land this awesome new job. And so lots of things, I guess lots of things have happened.
And you look different. It's like, oh God, I feel like I'm seeing the real Gretchen, like shining out, which
Not
maybe
hiding.
you can't always see. Yeah, and not hiding. Does it feel that way for you?
Yes, it, yes, I feel like I am really comfortable in my own skin. Like the things that are unknown right now in my life, I'm not afraid of. I'm excited about. Like the job, it's going to be totally different. I have new people, new everything, but I'm not afraid of it, even though, it's later in my career to be starting a new company, but I'm excited about it. Like I'm going to be challenged. There are things I'm not going to know, but I'm like, oh, I can't wait to learn about things that I don't yet understand. Yeah, I feel really good. I think it all matters. Our group meetings, everything that we do helps. I think the consistent Ashtanga yoga has been a huge shift also, because it's that consistent morning routine of building strength and letting things out right at the beginning of the day. That's been a big part of it, I think, too.
Wow, it's been just so exciting to watch your journey, really. It's been so inspiring. So what has working together really done for you?
I think what helps is our Tuesday calls really help, because every week is different and we never know what's coming our way. And there have been weeks when like right now, I'm feeling really, really great. But knowing that I will have that call on Tuesday morning to gather with the team and to be inspired by other people on the team. I always learn little things from everybody along the way too. And just having that support, just so I feel like I'm doing great and I'm not worried that I'm going to go backwards, because I still have the team to support and to keep growing and learning with. And that makes a big, big difference, having support of other people instead of just trying to do it alone, which I've tried to do for years. Books, books, books. I have shelves full of self-help books. That's all I would read. And I would get little things here and there, but I couldn't quite pull it together on my own. And with the team, it's like now I've got a team, and now I can put it all together and keep growing and learning. I'm thinking back about some of those calls and how vulnerable I was, how much of a mess I was. Not that I'm still not that I won't have moments of that, but man, it was such a process, like such a shedding of skin and transformation. Like it had to get really hard before I could move forward. I had to like work through it, through some really tough emotions to to then get to the other side and go, okay, I can do this. So it's amazing to me. But I think without the team, without your support, I I can't imagine that I would be sitting here feeling the way I do. I don't think I don't think it would have been possible. So I can't thank you enough for what you do. It's magic. It's real.
It just makes my heart so happy to hear that, and to also see that, and to witness that with you. So you're an absolute joy to work with. And what are some of the tangible results you feel like you've received in our work together, or that you've achieved?
I think just the practicing, like the yoga practicing, the every morning journaling, the breath work, every day my communication with other people is better. The communication with my family every single day is different. And I don't get caught up in drama. Like I just reject drama. And it's so easy to spot. That was one of the first things I think that I started shifting in my life after this program, was like letting go of drama, was just refusing to be a part of it, recognizing it and saying, no, I'm not doing that. Even not hurrying. I don't remember where it came from, if it was the presence process or what, but like when I read that or heard those lines, like hurrying is drama, I'm like, yeah. And guess what I used to do? Rush, 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 rush. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta get it done, gotta go now, gotta. It's just constant like chaos. And that is that's not a fun way to live, you know? So that's a big, big, big one. Like even this morning, I thought, oh, we're meeting at 7 and we have a storm coming, a tropical storm. And before I would have been like, oh, I would have gotten all stressed out about it. But I was like, I'm not going to be ready by 7. I need to ask for 15 more minutes because I still have to get the dog walked before the heavy rain comes, and it's coming any second now. Get the plants down. I didn't, anyway. So, but instead of getting upset about it and stressing out, I was like, I just need 15 minutes. Like, I just need to simply ask. And it's okay to ask because I didn't get myself in a position in time. So that's like just a very recent example of that.
Being able to speak your truth.
Yes, yes. And unapologetically keeping true to myself. Just recently we've been talking about, like, if we have from Untamed, if you have an option of disappointing another person or disappointing yourself, always disappoint the other person. That I am 48 years old, and it took me until last week to understand that concept, because so many situations I find myself in where I would much rather disappoint myself and do something I don't really want to do rather than say no to somebody or do that. That is a huge, I'm already trying to teach my daughter that. I've had her listen to some chapters of Untamed because I'm like, these are really, really powerful life lessons that you should hear right now. So that's what I mean, continued learning. Like these are things just still picking up. So I don't want to stop, like the group coaching and the calls, because I feel like I'll continue to evolve and just feel better.
And have you felt your frequency, like, I don't know, compared to where you started to where you are now? Can you feel like a shift in your energy and in your frequency level as a
Oh,
result
totally.
of?
It was something that I was trying to work on because because of what I was reading. Like, I read The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer, and I've read other books about like energy and frequency. But to say I need to be high vibe, but then to know how to do it, it's different. So it's like I would say, keep it high vibe today, keep it high vibe today. But then I hadn't done the work to understand like how to feel that way and how to live that way. So yes, I feel like I knew of the concepts of staying here, but could I practice them without doing more work? No. So, but now I can. Now it's like I not only understand like that about the different vibrations and the energy that we put out and receive, but I'm able to live that way. And and make an intention at the beginning of the day. I've been using your journal prompts that you just gave us a few weeks ago. Every day I'm writing out, how do I want today to go? And I always write, keep it here, keep keep things up. And I recognize big time when I'm around low frequency, and I am better at just removing myself or putting a bubble up and rejecting the low vibe. Where before I would, it's sort of like my daughter playing tennis. If she has an opponent that's she's equally matched with or that's better than her, she raises to that occasion and she'll play harder. Well, I used to, when I was around somebody with a lower vibe energy, I would get in there with them. All of a sudden I'm complaining about the neighborhood homeowners association, or like just get pulled into those things. And now it's like I can see that and go, no, that's not where. And it's not that every day is sunshine and rainbows and I'm just always like high vibing, but there's a lot more that I have control of than I ever realized. No victimization. Like I'm not like, woe is me. Like, no, no. Some days I feel the feels like leaving my job. It's been emotional. I've had lots of tears, but I didn't feel badly about it. I just dealt with it. Like, okay, this is big. I'm leaving a lot of people that I've cared about for a long time. And this is a huge shift. And I'm feeling sad and knowing like, that's okay. Like, cry it out and then move on. So instead of just being dragged through drama.
Oh, it's so healthy to hear you say that. And it's so obvious that you're embodying and that you
Mhm.
have the daily tools that help you every day to stay high frequency, but also give yourself permission to process your emotions and to feel what you're feeling and know that it's okay.
Yeah, it's like feeling feels like having cries. It's not bad, but it can't be every day. Like if it's
Hmm.
happening every day, it's always like sadness, like reoccurring sadness, and it's like, okay, there's something else. But if something happens that triggers, I don't know, it's different to process emotions in a healthy way. Feels pretty good.
Have there been any results that you weren't expecting that have pleasantly surprised you?
I wasn't expecting maybe the team environment to matter so much, and but it's super important. Like I said, I've been trying to do everything on my own all this time, and I thought, well, if I just have the right tools in the right direction, I can do this. I can do it myself. I can do this myself, and maybe with a little guidance from Polly, I'll still be. She's just going to like help me navigate and help me instruct. But I didn't know like how having other people who are going through things could also really add so much value, like being a working together and just still getting little gems from people on the team pretty weekly. I think that's a pleasant surprise, like unexpected to learn from other people where they are in their experiences, and then just the support feeling of knowing not feel alone because I'm not alone. Um, and then I think the little signs, like the little animal signs, the little spiritual visitors and that kind of thing, I didn't really ever pay attention to that. And I think that's really, really cool to just keep eyes wide open and know like there are messengers, and learning from those messengers, I think is pretty fun, and it's pretty accurate when we have these little, and the signs and the numbers and that kind of thing. Like I always kind of paid attention to that, but especially since I've been going through a pretty major transformation the last few months, like paying attention to the ones that keep coming up and the twos, and then knowing like, okay, just keep going, like keep going. It's all in alignment. That's been fun and surprising.
Over the past 8 months, do you feel a different sense within yourself in terms of trusting your intuition, trusting your inner voice in these messages is that you're getting and in the signs that you're seeing and stuff like that? Has that gotten more clear for you?
Yes, I've always thought I've had a pretty in tune like sense, like in intuition, but I kind of always wrote it off like I would just kind of make fun of it or just think like it just was coincidence that I felt certain things or knew certain things ahead of time. But now I know that it's something that is, it just is. And it's something that I have to trust. And so that has been different because I always discounted my intuition and then sometimes even went against it. And now it's like, no, this is like, pay attention, trust yourself, trust signs, and yeah, and just live life like that instead of like, oh yeah, you just happen to call that person at the same time, or you just happen to, I don't believe in the coincidences anymore. I believe that it's synchronous things. And it's really cool. And I appreciate it now instead of just kind of like, eh.
Is there anything you'd tell someone that, let's say, was considering joining our program, considering working with me? What would you tell them?
I would say if you really want to shift your life and move yourself in a positive direction, that this program is super, super helpful because doing it alone just doesn't, I mean, from my perspective, doing it alone didn't work. Like I could buy all the books, could read all the books, I could listen to all the podcasts, I could pull the cards for the day. But if you want to really, if you're doing a lot of work on yourself and you want to really pull it together and make an investment in yourself, and you will not regret it. You will feel better on the other side. Like once you start doing the work, I don't know if it is for everybody. I imagine it's an emotional journey, like to get through, like to disconnect from the old energy. But it's the best money I've ever spent on myself. It's the best thing I've ever done for myself. It's hard to explain, but that's what I would say.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share or pass on about your transformation?
For some reason, Amy keeps coming into my head, but it's been such a really cool way to continue my journey with my lifelong friend. And we were already so tight, like just had this connection from a really young age, 12 years old. And it, so like, I feel like if somebody has a spiritual connection with another person and they would want to do this program with another person, that's a really cool way too, to kind of like, to have somebody you already know and somebody who's already similar minded, and to kind of take the journey together and then to watch each other evolve is incredible. I am so proud of Amy. This might be the first time I'm going to be able to talk about her without crying. All week long I've been a blubbering. I'm so proud of her. Like, and not in a condescending way, of course, but in a, there she is. Like you said, I feel like I see you. I see, there she is. Like there my friend is that I've, see, here it comes, but that I've known my whole life. And she's like raw right now. Like she is, that is her. You are seeing Amy, and she is trusting herself. And like that is the most, probably, I don't, even a bigger gift than what, how my own life has transformed. Seeing her where she is today is, it's killing me. I'm just so happy. Like my cup runneth over with gratitude for where she is right now. It's all so, I would say going through this with Amy is probably the most special experience two friends could have. It is super beautiful. And to watch the good, bad, the ugly, like watch the transitions, watch the transformations. I mean, she has seen me in pain. She has seen me struggle, but then she's seen me come through it, and kind of, to do all this and to do it together has been so cool. So she was right on time when she suggested I reach out to you. She's like, because she's been such a support for so long, but she knew it was the point where it was like, I needed more. I needed the group. I needed your guidance. And so it was, it was perfect, perfect. Although I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. I was like, oh my God, like I've got credit card debt right now. I can't, pay for this. But then guess what? I was like, I prayed on it. I was like, I did the old abracadabra and I paid for it like quickly. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but it did.
I know. And it did. It happened so much faster than you originally thought. And it just felt to me like you were so supported through the whole, it was just so clear that it was the right decision for you because the money manifested so fast. Like, what the heck? That was awesome.
Yes, I was like, I was thinking, do you do pro bono? Like, how we gonna work this out? But then I was like, I just had to, yeah, it was like my first lesson on like trust, like that I will make it happen. Like this is supposed to happen. I'm feeling it should happen. And then trusting that it would happen. And then I think it was within a week or a week and a half, I had the money and it was like, oh, there we go. And no looking back.
And now look, you have a whole new, like, your income's probably raised. Like, I'm sure that you've paid off that investment like
Yeah,
multiple times
it's
over now.
now, yes. Like there's a really good chance that I'm about to significantly increase my income.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, is there anything else you'd like to share before we sign off?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to articulate. It really is hard for me to explain what I've gone through with with your coaching because it's not something that happens overnight. It it's a journey. It is work. It is investment, like time and emotionally and all of that. And, but now I think people that can see like where I was at the beginning and see how I'm feeling and how my life is right now, then you can't argue with that. There's no argument. It's like, that's just real. Like I was struggling, I was full of fear, and now I am kicking ass. So is it a coincidence? I don't think so. I think it is fully from your support and guidance and the team. So thank you is what I have to say.
You're so welcome. And it's so fun to see you kicking ass because you're on fire. And I also love seeing your relationship with Parker, with your daughter. And it's just like so heartwarming for me to see the shifts happening there and even with your husband too. And like, it's just awesome.
Yes, it is. It's truly awesome. It's truly awesome. And there's nothing more important to me than my relationship with my daughter. And so the fact that I've got that in a very good spot and I can be a good example for her and we can enjoy our days and it's yeah, invaluable. Nothing matters more than that.
It is so beautiful. And what just the other thing before we close was the story that you shared about the tennis match, because I thought that was just so cool how you felt her energy and then you were actually able to transform it. And once you got there, her game completely shifted. Can you speak a little bit about that and like how that was different for you, maybe even from before, or what you were able to realize with that?
Yeah, so I didn't understand the idea that I took on other people's energy before talking with you and before working with you. But now that I know that's something I do, it's pretty clear. So I get to my daughter's tennis match. I was late. She was already in like 3 sets, so she was down 3-0. And typically when I would get to her match, I got super nervous. Like I would have butterflies. I would just and I didn't understand that it was her energy that I was taking on because that's how she was feeling on the court. So I would just intensify it because I would be there as her mom and I'd be pacing. My heart's pounding out of my chest. My palms are sweaty. I'm sweating like, and I'm just sitting there now. So like a few matches ago, when that happened, I get there, she's down 3-0, and I start feeling all those feels. And I was like, no, 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 no. Calm it down because if I'm feeling her energy, maybe she can feel mine. And I just was like, I just sat there strong. I sat there and I watched her and I didn't pace and I didn't get scared. And I just was a solid presence. And I just sent her, like, I was just like, be strong, kid, just focus. You got this, like in my head. And she ends up winning 6-3. She just, all of a sudden, she's serving up serves that the girl couldn't even return. Like the girl would just look at the ball. It was like boom, boom. And it was it was one of the coolest experiences ever. And again, I think before I would have thought, well, just happened to happen like that. Like if I, but it was serious shift in energy. And I do think that my presence helped. I think it helped for me to, you know, whether I alchemized it, I don't know, but it happened. So, and yeah, I never understood. Every time she would play a match, I would just get all, I hated it. And I kept saying to myself and to people, like, why am I feeling like this? Like, I'm not the one playing. Why, when she's out there playing, am I just a bucket of nerves? Like, it's so uncomfortable. Like, oh, and then saying, okay, you know what? I'm taking it on. Let's try to do something about it. Let's shift it and let's help balance. And yeah, that was magical. Getting that to, and just seeing her just focus and then just kick butt. It was incredible.
Oh, I love that
So
story. And I
yeah.
mean, and it's so cool that you were able to be aware of what was happening and you're able to shift it right then and there in the moment. And then to have such tangible results is
Yeah.
just like, whoa, that's so amazing. So awesome. And I feel like that's what is so powerful about the program is that, and I mean, what I feel really passionate about is that you have the tools that are really practical, that are becoming a, you're like a part of your just daily living, that
Right.
can help you to shift those experiences and,
Right.
just you're just, it's different in a way that you are in control of your energy, of how you feel, and what you're putting out there, and that you're also not taking on the energy like you used to before.
Yes. Yes, it's huge. Like I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that I took on other people's energy, but now that I do understand it, I'm very careful. Like I'm protective. I'm protective of my energy, and I don't put myself in certain situations. I can name several situations where I used to put myself in and I didn't understand why I would feel so bad afterwards. And then now that I understand it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay over here and I'm going to reject that. I'm just not going to let it in because we don't have to. I don't have to, and I don't want to. It feels better not to. That's a tricky one to navigate sometimes. And, like when coming upon people that we have to interact with because of certain circumstances, and then navigating successfully and, and rejecting the energy and keeping mind clean is a little life
But
changing.
yeah, it's so life changing. And then the daily practices, I know for me, it's like having the daily practices, it's like a daily cleaning. So we're constantly cleaning our energy system and our energy on a daily basis.
I feel like that's part of the Ashtanga too. Like, yes, it makes my body strong, but I think the sweating it out every morning, I do feel like, yeah, I'm starting the day like releasing toxins. Like I'm sweating, I'm getting my heart rate up, and I'm grounding myself because I'm breathing throughout that practice. It's like so much is happening in that 30 minutes on the mat. And to be consistent for years, it's been my intention, my plan I know I feel better when I'm practicing yoga. For years, it's been my plan to have a daily practice, but I didn't ever know how to integrate it. I would say, oh, the time at the studio doesn't work for my schedule. Anyway, now that I just have my own space in my house and I make it a habit, like brushing my teeth, then it just, 6 days a week, and I make it happen, and it helps everything for sure.
It is so life changing. And I feel like everything combined together. And that's how come I designed the program the way I did. Because for me, I knew on my journey that I needed all of all of these pieces at the same time to come together for me to navigate life in a way that felt joyful, in a way that felt where I felt good in my own body, where I wasn't taking on other people's energy. And so, but you're right, it is work, and it is like empowered to do the work. It, like you said, it just becomes like brushing our teeth. It's like, now for me, I can't imagine not doing it. Like when I don't do it, I can really be like, I miss it. It's like I
Yeah.
want to.
It's like the one day so I don't do on Sunday. And like Sunday, I'm like, okay, it's okay. Like, I feel like I'm missing out, but I'm like, nope, body needs to rest today. It's fine. But then Monday, I'm like, okay, yes, I get to get back on the mat, you know? So yeah, no, I totally get it. I missed one after one of our meetings because I had to get on the road. And that day I was like, oh, no, 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 no. Like, yeah, it's so important. In 30 minutes, come on, we all can carve out 30 minutes, like at the front end of our day. Get up a little earlier. It's so worth it. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, honey. Thanks so much.